So if we talk about the career options, every fashion student who comes out from any of these schools, they call themselves to be fashion designers. But that is not the actual case. Fashion designers say, ठीक है मैंने डिजाइनिंग कर लिया, मुझे डिजाइनिंग करना आता है, लेकिन जरूरी नहीं है कि हर कैंडिडेट जो किसी भी स्कूल या कॉलेज से निकल के आया है वो फैशन डिजाइनर ही कहलाए. आपके पास और भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल होते हैं. ठीक है, जरूरी नहीं है आप डिजाइनिंग में ही जाएंगे. When you are into your schools and colleges, you study n number of subjects into a fashion designing course, right? Now each of that program or each of the course subject that you're studying into your program has got different kind of options attached to it. So you can be a fashion designer, you can be a fashion stylist, you can be a consultant, you can be a fashion coordinator, a fashion director, a merchandiser. Now when we talk about merchandiser also, merchandisers can also be a variety of types. You can be a fabric merchandiser, you can be a production merchandiser, you can be a fashion merchandiser, and so many other things. Apart from that, when we say designers, now these designers also have got lots and lots of varieties. Varieties in the sense, depending upon the garment category or the apparel category, they can be classified into various forms, right? They can be a haute couture designer, one can be a pret-a-porter designer, one can be a bridal wear designer, one can be a leisure wear designer, one can be a luxury brand designer, and there are so many kinds of designers. So you have to decide upon it that what is your forte, where does your brain, where does your thought, where does your inclination land up, all right? So that is important when we discuss that these are the kind of options available to you, right? So once we know the kind of options available to me, I can think about it. I can actually plan that, oh, I am not too much interested in designing. So let me think of something which is more ahead of it. Today, each of these celebrities, they have their own fashion stylists. They land up into, if you have a particular garment, how do you carry that garment? What kind of makeup should you wear with that? What kind of hairstyle that goes along with that outfit? So that is what is important, you know. So you can be a fashion stylist, you can be a consultant, and so many number of options can be available to you. So you have to plan and think about it very well in advance. Before you land up into the industry, you should be well clear with your imagination and thoughts that what is my ultimate aim? Where do I want to get to, right? So important things. All right. The next concept that we take up is basically we're trying to talk about that how is fashion basically affecting our economy. So we say, how is fashion good for our economy? Now fashion these days, if we talk about, is a huge international business. It is about $1.3 trillion industry, wherein a particular share is from India also. So the market is highly competitive. It is dominated by the presence of so many international names. Despite the crisis that is happening due to this pandemic since last 1.5 years, the fashion industry has still achieved a rapid growth. It is rising. So even if you have stayed at home today from 1.5 years, you've not got the opportunity to move out much. But still, I don't feel that there is anybody who has not brought up new garments or new clothes. बेशक आपने घर में पहनने के लिए ही कपड़े लिए होंगे, लेकिन आपने लिए होंगे, right? So that is how it is growing. It is still growing and it is rapidly growing, right? So even after this pandemic times where everybody is affected because of the incomes and job opportunities losing down, regular source of incomes going away from the families and everything, but still nobody stops wearing clothes. That is the requirement, right? So that is why we say that it is a rapid increasing industry. Most important part, or we say the industry is majorly affected by the youth. Probably, you know, you will see that the older generation might not be that fashion conscious, but the younger generations are. To a certain extent, to these days, the older generations are also fashion conscious, but maybe not to that extent as the younger generation might be. Now, if we talk about the Indian scenario, India has actually become a focal point for the fashion field. There are so many fashion brands from the international repute who basically want to enter into the Indian market. They are ready to invest the money into the Indian market. They want to launch up their own brand. They want to come up with their manufacturing units. They basically want that is because India's got that kind of labor. They are tech savvy. They are they have a strong economic fundamentals, so that is the reason because of which the international markets want to invest into the Indian markets. Now, India is ready to evolve as from an increasingly important sourcing hub. That is because we have got those kind of resources. We have the availability of raw materials, we have the right kind of availability of the labor, we have the kind of infrastructures required. So that is where it says that, there is a huge demand that India will, in the coming years, soon emerge to be another complete fashion conscious, and a fashion industry will get to its boom entirely. Now, we've discussed so much about what fashion is, who an entrepreneur is, how do we start up a business. But side by side, it is important to know that it is all an extreme waste if we do not know who our target customer is. आप अभी तक ठीक है, आप एक काम कर रहे हैं, आपने बिजनेस लॉन्च कर दिया, लेकिन आपको ये बिजनेस पता भी तो होना चाहिए आपने किसके लिए लॉन्च किया है, आपका कंज्यूमर कौन है या कंज्यूमर है कौन एक्चुअली. सो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आपको अपने कंज्यूमर, जो आपका ये प्रोडक्ट यूज करने वाला है, आपका ब्रांड इस्तेमाल करने वाला है, आपको हेल्प करने वाला है आपकी इमेज बिल्डिंग में, आपको उसके बारे में भी पता हो. सो नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द कंज्यूमर. Who is a consumer? What is a consumer? What are the different forms of consumer? Why do we need to know consumers, our consumers well? That is what we are going to study in this section now. So if I talk about who is a consumer. So consumer is an individual who pays money to consume the goods and services. आपने कोई चीज बनाई है, लेकिन अगर उसकी मार्केट में एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी नहीं है, उसको कोई खरीद नहीं रहा है, तो आपके लिए तो वो कंप्लीट वेस्ट है. सो द पर्पस बिहाइंड इज कि आप कुछ ऐसा बना रहे हैं जो आपके लिए एक मार्केट में डिमांड क्रिएट कर रहा है और लोग उसको खरीद रहे हैं. तो जो लोग उसको पैसा दे करके खरीद रहे हैं आपकी सर्विसेज को, आपकी चीजों को, वो आपके लिए कंज्यूमर है. राइट? कंज्यूमर हमारे पूरे इकोसिस्टम में, चाहे वो हमारे नेशन का हो या किसी और कंट्री का हो, एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है. सो अल्टीमेटली द एंटायर साइकिल दैट इज गोइंग ऑन फॉर creating a product, coming up with a brand, or maybe launching up a fashionpreneur, is all because there is the vital role of a consumer which is there in the economic nation or the economy of the nation. If we talk about the demand of the consumer is not met, say supposedly there is something which has come up into the market and the consumer demand is not met. Consumer says that मेरी requirement तो ABCD थी और जो प्रोडक्ट आया है वो मेरे रिक्वायरमेंट के अकॉर्डिंगली नहीं है. सो व्हाट हैपेंस? वन, दैट देयर इज नो एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट, एंड ऑल्सो द प्रोड्यूसर हु इज मेकिंग इट ऑल्सो लैक्स मोटिवेशन. उसको भी धीरे धीरे लगने लगेगा कि ले तो कोई रहा नहीं है, बिक तो रहा नहीं है, तो दैट मोटिवेशन फैक्टर डाइज आउट. So it is important that before you come up with anything, you should have the complete knowledge of your consumer base. Consumers have the power of influencing, Today, if I am a consumer, I have bought something, I like it, I appreciate it, so probably I will be the one who will be talking about that particular product to 10 different people. I'll be trying convincing them. मैंने यूज किया है, मुझे अच्छा लगा, तुम भी लो. Right? So that is where we say that consumers have the power, they have the influence that they can basically enhance a product also, and they can basically go down, take a product down also. So it is important that today's dynamic, highly saturated fashion world, it is important that we need to study the consumers' preferences and demands. So till the time if you do not study those demands and requirements, it is whatever you launch, not necessary that it will be successful. Right? Now, if coming to the next, what we say is consumer demands on the basis of current market trends. So what does the consumer demand? That is what is important. The first thing that they demand is personalization. What do you understand by personalization? Now, personalization says, as an individual, each of us have our own personal likes and dislikes. हो सकता है as an individual, I might be liking to wear more of saris or suits as per my stature, as per my job requirements, as per my likes and tastes. On a contrary, you as an individual or maybe a college going student, your preference might be more of denims, more of tees, more of crop tops, or anything in particular, right? So each of us has our own personal requirements. So that the market has to understand, or the brand has to understand, or the manufacturer has to understand that what are the personal likes that a particular target audience has. Not every brand will give you all your likes and dislikes. Okay? Maybe I am more inclined towards a particular brand because like I know I want more of kurtas and saris, so probably my liking would be maybe Fab India. You may be liking more of H&M because you probably want to get into a different brand, or maybe a different kind of outfits that we basically require, right? So it is important that we should understand our requirement. The market has to understand the consumer का requirement क्या है. तो जब तक आपको वो personalization नहीं मिलेगा into the product, you would not want to buy that, right? So it is important that the manufacturer, the brand, or anybody or an entrepreneur needs to understand that personalization factor of the consumer and then try to work about on those aspects. The second important aspect that is there is the sustainability factor. The sustainability factor says that anything that is coming into the market has to create a particular eco-friendly wave. आज की डेट में इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर मुझे पता है कि एक पेपर को बनाने के लिए आई हैव टू कट डाउन मे बी 10,000 trees. So how have we adapted to it? That we have stopped using more of paper and we've moved on to our soft copies of things. हम आज की डेट में अपना सारा डेटा जो है वो अपने सिस्टम्स पे, हार्ड ड्राइव पे, पेन ड्राइव पे रखना प्रेफर करते हैं, बजाय कि मैं हर चीज का प्रिंट आउट निकालूं, right? So similarly there is a factor for garments also, or the fashion industry also, that they have to basically see that the consumer base today is moving towards sustainability. So I have to work about or try to make up garments or fashion accessories or any product which is more sustainable, and my consumer is ready to accept that. But of course the most important factor out of the all is the quality factor. जब तक I do not get the good quality product, I will not want to buy it. I go to the market, I go to a particular showroom, I try to buy something, but I suddenly notice, the buttons are not properly placed. I can see the threads coming out from places, there are seams which might not be properly put up. So, meaning that product does not give you a good appearance or good feel. It does not have a good quality, right? You would not buy it. Believe me, even if you're getting it at a discounted price, you will not buy it. So our aim is not that ठीक है सस्ता मिल रहा है तो खरीद ले. No. Our aim is that we're looking forward for the quality factor also, right? Now, what role does a consumer play in the economic system? It is very important. We've already discussed कि आपने कोई चीज बनाया लेकिन वो बिका नहीं, तो आपका पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ स्टार्टिंग की कहाँ से मेरा आइडिया परसीव हुआ, कहाँ से मैंने उसको वर्कआउट किया, मैंने क्या चीज़ बनाया और उसको एंड प्रोडक्ट पे लाके खड़ा किया. बट देन अगर मेरे पास उस एंड प्रोडक्ट का कंज्यूमर नहीं है, what help does it do? Nothing. My entire process has gone into a ditch. So I don't want that, because it is ultimately the consumers who are using that product. They are buying it, right? If they do not buy it, so again, खरीदोगे नहीं, बिकेगा नहीं तो पैसा नहीं आएगा तो मेरा इकोनॉमी डिस्टर्ब होगा. So indirectly it is basically the consumer who is taking the economy into a round roll. All right. Also, the fact that the market is focusing more on finding, serving and maintaining consumers. Today as a consumer, I know if I have a particular car, I want to change it. I have built up a particular image of a particular brand, I have been using maybe a Maruti Suzuki brand for about a Suzuki brand for about 10 years now. So the next car that I want will be that only, because I'm probably satisfied with it, right? You've been using or you've been wearing a denim probably Louis Strauss, and you've been satisfied with it. So unnecessarily you would not want to change up a brand. You would say कि नहीं, मुझे उसका fit पता है, मुझे उसका fabric पता है, मुझे उसकी feel पता है, let me go and buy the same brand only. So that is where we say that, you know, economy को maintain करने के लिए consumer is acting as a main source. वहाँ पे it is important कि हम उस consumer को maintain करके रखें. Also the fact remains that every manufacturer, or every rather I would say that person who's into the entrepreneurship or who's targeting the consumer has to look for something of a value for them, such that they have a complete strong desire to buy it. Now, where do I get that strong desire? How do I give them that strong desire? That strong desire can be in any kind of form. That can be in giving them some kind of promotional strategies, promoting my product, giving them some kind of discounts, giving them some kind of buy one get two kind of offers that you normally see. So that is how you're basically trying to capture that prospective customer, right? So that is how the now when you get that offer, I might be convinced. I see that, you know, 1,000 rupees and I get 2 shirts into this. So I will say, हाँ यार, a good deal. Even I might not be requiring it at that point of time, but you feel that ये तो कभी भी use हो जाएगी. Let's go and buy it, right? So that is important. That is how you're basically trying to capture the prospective customer. Now, what is the importance of the consumers? One, that they encourage demand. Now, how do they encourage demand? कंज्यूमर का पर्पस है, उस कंज्यूमर का मतलब ही यही है कि वो कोई भी चीज खरीदेगा, है ना, उसको कोई चीज खरीदनी है, उसके लिए उसने आपको पैसा देना है एंड उसने वो चीज खरीदनी है. तो यानी कि वो एक डिमांड क्रिएट कर रहा है, मार्केट में उसकी एक डिमांड क्रिएट हो रही है कि वो प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में बिकेगा, राइट? So that is where we say that a consumer is somebody who is encouraging the demand of a particular product into the market. The next it says is that creation of demand for different products. You as an individual are not restricting yourselves to एक चीज. आप 10 तरह की चीजें खरीदते हैं. आप रोज में, मेरे ख्याल में आपके घर में 10 तरह की चीजें आती होंगी, not related only to the fashion or not only related to the garment, but you might be buying different things, right? Vegetables, grocery items, probably, you know, your daily utilities, so many other things. So ultimately, you are a consumer. You are a consumer of different products. You're using them in some or the other form. And that is how you're creating a demand for that. When you're creating a demand, so that is how you're encouraging the economy. And then, but of course, there is enhanced service diversification. Now, when I say service diversification, जब तक आपको किसी भी चीज का अच्छा सर्विस नहीं मिलेगा, you would probably not want to stick to that particular product or a particular brand, right? So, it is basically where you feel that once you are buying something, you have to see that what kind of services are you getting for that particular thing. आज I buy a washing machine, I am guaranteed, I have been given a notice that, or maybe, you know, a feeling that this has 4 years of warranty. But tomorrow down the line, maybe 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, somewhere I feel that मेरा machine में कुछ problem आ रहा है, and I give them a call. And then I am being dragged कि अच्छा आज ठीक होगा, कल ठीक होगा, परसों ठीक होगा, this person will come, and what happens? It is forcing me to diversify into other brands. मैंने वो सैमसंग का मशीन खरीदा था, मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर मुझे कुछ लेना होगा प्रोडक्ट, तो आई विल से नहीं, मैं सैमसंग नहीं लेती, इसकी आफ्टर सेल सर्विस अच्छी नहीं है, राइट? आई वुड प्रॉब्ली ट्राई टू लुक फॉर सम अदर ब्रांड, right? So that is where I'm trying to diversify myself from one particular brand or a service to some other thing. That is why we say that it is important for the customers to diversify also. क्योंकि अगर आप एक जगह पे restrict हो जाएंगे, तो you will not be able to understand what the others are offering. Secondly, you become too loyal to a particular brand that they have started taking you for granted. Right? So do not give any brand or any company that kind of a feel, or any person that kind of a feel कि आप उसके बिना से रह नहीं सकते, right? So as a consumer, it is important for you to feel that you have to take up different options but you have to decide what is best for you.